Good morning, Blues. It's Stephen here on FA Cup final day. Manchester City are yet again at Wembley, the Etihad South, as we like to call it, for what could be a very historic occasion. It's going to be. It's Kevin De Bruyne's last ever Wembley appearance for Manchester City Football Club, unless something insane happens in the summer. I don't think it will be. He's not going to extend randomly out of nowhere. So it's going to be a very emotional day in Wembley Stadium, and the nerves are starting to build. I'm not going to lie. I'm starting to feel, given this season, that it's going to be a tough day today. But I can't wait for it. I can't wait to see City there. I can't wait to take on Palace, a very different set of circumstances for Manchester City and Crystal Palace, given where we come from, given where they come from. This could be their first ever major piece of silverware. They've never won the Carabao Cup or the League Cup as it's known as, the FA Cup or the Premier League or anything like that. This is 120 years of football for them and a chance to get a piece of silverware. We can't deny that this is going to be a massive day for Crystal Palace, a huge day for Crystal Palace, and I think they're going to be very consciously aware of that, so I'm aware that this is a chance for Manchester City to mess up if we're not clever, not clever enough about it. It could be a very, very interesting day. It's of course at 4:30 kickoff. I will be live on bigup.com later on for the watch long. You'll be able to find that link in the description below. I'm not at Wembley today. I would love to be at Wembley today. Expecting a second child this very soon, put it that way. I could not go to Wembley. That's how close it is. So I would love to be there. I'd love to be there with my dad watching it. Me and my dad would have headed down if not. But unfortunately, family matters are in the way. Who knows? Maybe Kevin gets a hat-trick today. I can twist Nicola's arm and get that kid who's got a different name, a new name instead. Well, we will see. But I'm looking forward to it. I really am. I would like to say that this video is sponsored by a new partner on the channel, the wonderful people at Match Bingo. I'm very excited to be working with them. Basically, it takes bingo and football and puts it together. It really is that simple. It costs £2 to enter. Basically, what you do is you have lines. And you fill up 2 lines, you get a prize. Fill up all the lines, you get a house. Over £200,000 has been paid out to players so far in a game that mixes sports betting, football and bingo. It's brilliant. It's a very simple game and it's good fun as you're watching the game. It includes little events, basically, like a corner to Crystal Palace or a shot on target or whatever, or a goal to City. And essentially, as events happen in the game, it ticks them off on the phone. And then hopefully you get to win a little bit of money. You can get the bingo cards for this game, buy 4 and get 1 free. Make sure you get your bingo card for the FA Cup final, Palace versus Manchester City. Click the link in the description, download the app, or scan the QR code next to my face right now. It's really good fun. It's very simple. And do let me know during the watch along over on Big Up if you are playing along. Match Bingo, yeah, it's really good fun. I'll show you this little video about it right here now. There we go. Yep, give it a download, give it a go, and see what you think about it. Download it. It's only £2 to enter. It's a little bit of fun, and real money can be won over on Match Bingo. Thank you very much to Match Bingo for sponsoring the channel. It's hugely appreciated. I'll be paying attention to that on my card during the FA Cup final live on Big Up. So this game is obviously going to be huge. It's going to be huge. Look, we can't deny the context of this game of football. It's been billed as a chance to save Manchester City season. Does it just save it? No, it doesn't. Guardiola was right to point out in the press conference that you judge Manchester City on their 38-game league campaign. Playing a few games in an FA Cup run is really impressive, but ultimately the best test of your credentials over a season is always going to be the league campaign for a club like Manchester City Football Club, or what you achieve in the Champions League. They are the true barometers. I think Guardiola actually probably prefers to judge the season even on the league. If we won the Champions League and finished 10th in the league, I don't think he'd still be that happy on our consistency, on our levels. Obviously, he'd be buzzing about winning the Champions League, but I would understand the logic of him being frustrated if we somehow accomplished that. As it is, we didn't get anywhere near that, of course. But the point I'm saying is, it hasn't been a good season, even if we win this. But this is still an FA Cup final. This is our 3rd in a row, 7 semi-finals in a row. It's our, 31st appearance at Wembley in the last 15 years or something like that. We are there all the time. And it is huge, I am very much excited to see how City get on today. Look, I know we've been blessed with watching Manchester City win trophies, but I will never take it for granted. You know, I remember where we came from, and I remember when this was just a pipe dream for me. Of course, you see it all the time these days, but I'm still aware there's a real rarity to it in football, and things are cyclical, and it could come round that one day City don't go to Wembley for a long time. That could happen very easily because football can do that to you. You know, obviously United are getting to Wembley every now and then, but look where they are on the table right now. You know, things can flip just like that. And City, I don't know, anything could happen. Anything could happen. Maybe we get found guilty, and maybe we don't, sit at the top of the table for a long time in terms of the football table where you're going to Wembley and all that kind of stuff and you're winning trophies. Maybe we just drop off after Guardiola leaves. I don't really know. But what I do know is I'll never take it for granted. And we shouldn't take it for granted given it's De Bruyne's farewell once again. De Bruyne, my favourite ever Manchester City player, probably one of my favourite ever footballers. He's not my favourite ever footballer. I think he's a one of one talent, a ridiculous player. The man that does things that no one else can. Of course, he's leaving, which still hasn't really sunk in, if I'm being totally honest. It probably will as he leaves the pitch against Bournemouth and gets his send-off. And it's going to be sort of emotional, you know. I've got a feeling he's going to feel it today. Of course, he's Kevin De Bruyne. He's the ultimate professional. He'll play on and on and on. And I've got no doubt whatsoever that, he'll move on regardless of what happens because he's such a pragmatic person. But you can't deny that, if De Bruyne leaves Wembley today with a runners-up medal in his last ever season at Manchester City, given how this season's unfolded, and we're not even guaranteed Champions League football yet, it's going to be a real shame, man. It's almost unfair. He does not deserve that at all. And that's not to say Crystal Palace don't deserve some success. I've seen Crystal Palace fans this week talking about what it can mean for them. And absolutely, I can imagine, look, they got no silverware ever. I was on BBC this morning, and the BBC presenter said, it means more for the Palace fans, right? And the Palace fan, HLTCO, Dan Cook, was very pragmatic about it. And he said, I'm not sure it means more. But if we're being honest, it's very different for them because they've never won any silverware whatsoever. It is an immensely historic occasion for Crystal Palace. A more historic occasion than it is for Manchester City. I can be humble enough to admit that. That doesn't mean we won't enjoy it. Doesn't mean that this isn't absolutely massive. But we have a different narrative. This, to me, is about De Bruyne, this FA Cup final. Because the season's been a bit of a letdown overall, but this for Palace is everything. This is what we've got to pay attention to. This could be the biggest moment in their club's history, and that's not even exaggeration. They win in the FA Cup final, something they've never done before. They're going to be absolutely up for it. That could play into their anxiety around this game. That could be a little bit oppressive. I think Oliver Glasner was saying he's got his team approaching this game in the same way as he ever does. He said there's no point changing it up because they could get a bit dizzy and a bit, overran by the emotions and all that kind of stuff. And he's not wrong there, It is something that's going to be playing on their minds, the expectation of all those fans, the history of a club on their shoulders in a game like this. So this is, to an extent, probably is a bigger occasion for Palace than it is for Manchester City, and there's no harm admitting that. That doesn't mean it's not going to hurt if we don't win today. That doesn't mean I don't want us to win aggressively. Of course I do. I'm just aware what we're up against. We're up against someone fighting for something here, truly fighting for something, and we've got to be very aware of that. I'm looking forward to it. Let's go to Guardiola's quotes from the press conference. Guardiola was talking about Palace. Of course, we beat them 5-2, but we were 2-0 down recently. He said, a fantastic team, more than a year with Oliver, working with the same players. So it's a final of the FA Cup. It's an honour, a privilege, the first time being there. We have to perform well. We travelled to London to win the title. He talked about Palace. He said, pace and quality. When they're a threat, it's because they have quality. Long balls, Mateta is strong, and after the quality with Eze is obvious. And of course, the pace with Sarr. They punished Aston Villa a lot with incredible pace from Muniz. Watkins a really good hold midfield and links really well inside. He well structured defensively and set pieces. They're one of the best in the league, but it's a final. We cannot expect differently. And look, he's summed up Crystal Palace really well there. Palace are a cracking side. I look through that team. And Muniz is a breakout star for Palace this season. One of the best attacking fullbacks, wing backs in the league. Tyreek Mitchell, a different take on it, but really solid defensively. You've got the quality of Wharton and Eze centrally, so good. Then you've got the pace instead of Sarr. Mateta, he's a proper striker. Then you've got Gay, Lacroix, really good defenders, man. Henderson's a good keeper too, with a manager who's intensely passionate and intensely focused on, securing a legacy for his club. I was sat right behind their bench when they played recently at Etihad, and Glasner is that man is absolutely. Yeah, he's intense. He's got Guardiola levels of intensity. And I do think he's a really good coach for what it's worth. And I feel like he could do a really good job, with all due respect to Palace, a bigger club, a Champions League level club. Because he's just, he seems to be really, really on it. And I think Guardiola summed up Palace quite nicely there. They are going to be aggressive. They are going to be assertive. They are going to be probably quite, up for this. As we saw, they battered Villa 3-0. Sarr with a brace, Eze there. It's how they lined up that day. Kamada alongside Wharton. I expect it probably will be him. I mean, maybe Hughes gets a start. Hughes came off the bench against us. I mean, the back three picks itself. The fullbacks, the wing backs pick themselves. Sarr and Eze, Mateta. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be something very much like that, I reckon. That's a very good Villa side, and they ran them ragged that day, didn't they? So over to Guardiola's quotes again. So that is the problem right now. The FA Cup now is not the first choice. Of course you want it. Once we are here, we want to lift the trophy. Of course it's a really, really massively important. It was a disappointment last season for our performance, but I'm pretty sure we'll perform well and we're going to compete against them. It's important, definitely. But to win the trophy, you have to be there. And to be there, you have to win previous games. And we've done it for many, many years. Yeah, look, Guardiola, very honest there. This isn't the most important thing for Manchester City Football Club. But when you're there at Wembley and you step out and see that, that incredible stadium, you see all those fans who spent all that money to travel there, and you get a chance to write your name down in history again. You gotta take it. You gotta take it. A little update on Rodri. Guardiola says he's doing much better. He said, "I'm waiting for the doctors. When they tell me he's ready, he's going to start." We don't want to take a risk and take a setback now in this moment. He was asked about Wirtz, but he sort of brushed it off with a smile, for what it's worth, by the way. He thanked the fans as well and said, "I want to thank the fans for the effort to come support us and coming to London." There's more quotes later on. Let me find them. He said the FA Cup is now not enough for City, but maybe 20, 25 years ago, winning the FA Cup one season was extraordinary. We know that. We know it's necessary to admit just for one title how was our season. I think the analysis would be poor, not good. The Premier League is what dictates how is your season. It's the most difficult, the most consistent. FA Cup is 5, 6, 7 games. You can do it. It's not easy, but you can do it. But all 38 games, all the competitions, that defines us. And this season has not been how we are. Maybe 20 years ago, trying to finish top 4 or top 5 of City would be good, but now it's not good enough. He's right. When I was a kid, FA Cup final would have been amazing. But it's not good enough now, and they are the standards. And I like Guardiola coming out and saying that. I like Guardiola not, sugarcoating the fact that what we can achieve this season won't be enough. There's a chance to save face. And look, if in our poor season we win the FA Cup, we beat United to get the Community Shield, still get Champions League football, it's not that bad, So it's not just 3 FA Cup finals in a row, it's 7 semi-finals in a row. That's a huge achievement. Sometimes maybe better than lifting one trophy. Now we have that privilege again. How many times have we been Wembley in the last 9, 10 years? Maybe more than 20 times? That is a success. No team has been more. Travelling, taking a train, going to London, the hotel close to Wembley, the same faces for many, many years to play semi-finals and finals. Come on, it's impressive. But at the same time, we are here, but it's not enough, and we're there to climb the stairs and to lift the trophy. Yeah, it is impressive. Guardiola's right to talk about the consistency of this team, but he's also right to say it's not enough just to be there. You've got to climb the stairs. You've got to lift the trophy. He said, "I played De Bruyne because I believe he can produce what he's produced. Against Palace, 2-0 down, he changed the game with a free kick. And absolutely, in the situation we're in, we can't do it for being gentle. It's because truly I believe we need him. He's going to help." Yeah, Guardiola basically, I guess he was asked the context there. Is he playing him because he's leaving? And Guardiola would have said, "No, I'm playing him because I believe he can do what he can do." And look, he has done. He's still our best attacking midfielder right now. So I don't know yet if he'll start. I have an idea, but we will see. I'd be amazed if he doesn't. I'd probably be a bit furious. Pep, you have to play him. You have to play him in this game. It's almost silly not to. And by the way, don't forget, this video is sponsored by Match Bingo. A quick shout out again. Please do consider downloading it by scanning that QR code right there. Football and bingo in one app at £2.20. It's really good fun. You tick off events as they happen and you can win a little bit of money. £2 to enter. Buy 4, get 1 free. Give it a go. It's really good fun. What else did he say? He said De Bruyne wants to do it for us, the team, and we want to do it for him. But to win, you have to perform, behave, and do something. It'd be nice. But even if he wasn't captain for many years. He already lifted a lot of trophies. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 18, 19 trophies in 9 or 10 years, not bad. Yeah, it would be not bad at all. So basically, sort of that was it, really. He said we have to. He praised the scheduling for Villa. He said, "Why are we playing on Tuesday when we could play Wednesday?" Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, that's basically the crux of what Guardiola had to talk about there. He's right in all of everything he said. Good morning to everyone in the chat, by the way, to 4648 in Spain, to Abby, to Ash, to Abhishek, to Omerta, to Alvin, to Marty Ninja, to A, to Tom. Good morning to you guys. Give the video a like, by the way, if you are watching live, and after the video, it's massively appreciated. Let me know your predictions for this game and your predicted lineup. Let's look at Palace in a little bit more detail and how they've been getting on. Palace, here they are against Villa, 3-0 there in the semi-finals. Before that, let me find their route to the final. Palace, I saw it on my notes over here. They've had a really good run, actually. They've only conceded one goal throughout this. They beat Stockport County, Doncaster Rovers, Millwall, Fulham and Aston Villa. So the game's got slightly harder as it went on, really. One goal, and he scored 3 goals in each of the last 3 rounds. So they've been banging the goals in there. Of course, it was 3-0 against Aston Villa. Let me go back. In the semi-finals, they battered Villa in the semi-finals. The quarter-finals were 3-0 against Fulham, sorry. And once again, Eze Sarr on the score sheet, and Ketia scoring as well. Very similar how, once again, you'd expect them to line up. Lerma was in the team there instead of Kamada or Will Hughes. But look, we know how they play. They have a very set style. They're currently sat 12th in the Premier League. So I think they probably wanted to aim higher than that this season. But they've had a really good campaign. Recently, their form has been good. They beat Spurs 2-0, Eze with a brace there. They drew against, obviously, Champions League fighting Forest. They beat Villa 3-0. They drew against Arsenal. They did draw 0-0 against Bournemouth, but they did lose 5-0 against Crystal Palace, weirdly, and 5-2 against us. But they're a very good side. They're a very good side. I am pretty confident, but they are a very good side. And the thing that I think could be the separating factor here is that, they haven't got the experience at Wembley in the way that we have. That could mean we're complacent, but I would expect them to feel the jitters a little bit. Look at what Newcastle did against Wembley, against United, when they didn't turn up in the first Carabao Cup final. Second time round, they got it right, admittedly. But before that, they were definitely shaky. They were definitely struggling. And they felt the expectation. City are so used to Wembley. I don't think stepping out on Wembley anymore is even remotely nerve-wracking for these players. They've all been there, man. They're all used to it. We've already been there once this season already. Twice this season. Community Shield, semi-finals. It's a very familiar place for us. So I expect we'll be at ease there, but I don't think it's going to be easy at the same time. Obviously, we have to look back at our recent results. The Southampton game was an absolute disaster. This is how we lined up in that game. We played a slightly different way. Kovacic, Silva, but Phil Foden came back into the side on the left. McAtee was on the right. Haaland back into the side immediately. Marmoush and Doku were left on the bench, undeservedly. Nico O'Reilly was off the team as well, with Savinho as well, coming off the bench at some point. I think we're going to see some changes. If I was Guardiola, I'm not Guardiola, I wish I was. I wish I had that money and that success and legacy and everything else that comes with it. Sadly, I'm not. Let's go to the semi-finals when we beat Forest 2-0. Forest were decent that day as well, by the way, but we just about deserved it, I would say. This is how we lined up that day with 4-2-2-2. Jack Grealish getting a start there. Rico Lewis playing in midfield as an 8. But the goals, Rico, of course, scoring very early on there. Marmoush, of course, without Haaland there. Josko Vardiol, late on securing the game. Into the second half, not late on. I think we're going to see something reasonably similar, but not exactly the same. I'm looking back to the other games because I think they tell the story of where we come from for this season and what the final team could be. Because I think some people have to be in the team because they got us there. So this is when we beat Bournemouth in the quarterfinals. Haaland was playing that game. Marmoush was playing that game off the bench. Haaland, De Bruyne, Foden, Gundogan, Kovacic, Silva. Vardiol was starting that one with O'Reilly on the bench, but O'Reilly, of course, came on in that game. And he turned it around. He was absolutely pivotal, that one. O'Reilly has to start this. I'll go to the team now. O'Reilly, 1 billion % has to start. I would argue it'd be cruel if he didn't. O'Reilly has been a large part of why we're actually there. So O'Reilly's going to start. I think Vardiol Diaz, and I think Núñez has to start. Núñez has got us to the final and played pretty much every single game. I've not checked, but he's been a massive part of this run. If you don't play Núñez, and you know my feeling on Núñez, I've been a bit critical of his ability as a City player, but he should be starting this game. He deserves to start, man. He's been most reliable, right back option in this run. Yeah, he has to play. I can't see him not playing De Bruyne. I'm going to put KDB here. Haaland is going to start. I think Doku gets a start on this side. And I think Marmoush, I know we don't like him on the right, but I think Marmoush plays on this side over here. Marmoush has to play. If he doesn't, I'll be furious. And then from that onwards, I think Silva and Kovacic. What do we reckon? It could be Gundogan. Foden's not playing. I don't think Foden playing. I don't think he was good enough the other day. I think it'll be something like this. And that will, of course, let O'Reilly get forward. I think Marmoush will be allowed to drift central with Núñez coming forward like that. I think it'll be something like this. It could be Gundogan, but I think Kovacic will start because he's been playing really well. I think we'll see something like this when we've got the ball. O'Reilly will get forward, Doku there. I think it's going to be something like that. Do you reckon KDB won't start, Robert? Yeah, Bernardo Silva, I think, will play. Guardiola always trusts Bernardo Silva in a big game. I'd be amazed if he's not starting this. It just doesn't strike me as a very Guardiola thing to... I mean, it does strike me as a very Guardiola thing to do, to not play him. I would be furious, but come on, man. Maybe Guardiola would be worried about the potential, him trying to force it a little bit. No, I think he'll start. He'll start and he'll go for it. Look, if anyone... Look, I think there's no worry about De Bruyne trying to force it because De Bruyne is so good that if he wants to try and force it, he'll probably make it happen. I know Marmoush is not comfortable on the right, but if he's allowed to drift central and make those runs... When he played the right the other day, by the way, he would have been fine if people made the passes to him, but no one was passing to him. That was my issue. The other way that it could be, if Marmoush is over here, Doku... It could be that McAtee gets a start because he's played a few, and Marmoush on the left. And what we saw, I know McAtee wasn't great the other day, but he's played on that side a few times. It could also be this. Silva gets a start there. Gundogan here. It could be that. With Bernardo Silva, Guardiola plays him on the right a fair bit. It could be that. It could be that he plays De Bruyne out wide. I'm not really sure. Look, it isn't going to be easy today. I still think we'll win. I think our experience will get us through this. I think I'm going to go for 2-1. It'll be close. I'm going to say De Bruyne does score, actually, and I think Haaland probably scores the other. Nico O'Reilly has to start today. I think Núñez has to start today. I think they deserve it. Marmoush, I would start him in a heartbeat. I think we've got to learn from the lessons of the Southampton game because we were poor on that. Haaland will start. Rodri, who knows, man? He's travelled with the squad now. He won't be on the bench, Rodri. He's not there yet. But who knows? He could be a surprise with one of Stones or whatever on the bench, or Ake. I think I would love to see City go back to how they played about 2-3 weeks ago, not the Southampton game because that was really poor. I think Guardiola might be tempted as well, something similar that we saw against Palace, where that's different now because Haaland wasn't there. Where you played De Bruyne as a striker and he was deep, and Marmoush and McAtee made the runs in. I don't know, guys. I want to say once again before I end this video, please do consider downloading Match Bingo. Scan that QR code right now. Obviously, a couple of quid to pay, but over £200,000 have been paid out to people so far. It's good fun. It's just a little bit of fun during the game. You keep an eye on it on your phone during the live game. Pay attention to events as they happen. I'll be paying attention to it during BigUp.com's live stream. For now, though, give the video a like, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and I'll see you live for the watch along later on BigUp.com, and I'm very excited for it. Once again, I'd love to be there, but little baby on the way very, 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 very soon. Nervously soon, so I can't be away from Manchester, if that makes sense. See you there in about 6 hours. Thanks for watching. Let me know your predictions. Up the Blues. Bye-bye.